Imagine a skyline that seems to mutate overnight. I
Sure.
mean, you blink and a new steel tower has just pierced the clouds.
Yeah.
You turn away for a second and a man-made island has appeared in the ocean. If you've ever done business in Dubai, you know the energy.
Oh, absolutely. It's high octane, high stakes.
Then it moves at a velocity that can actually be disorienting.
It really is the New York of the Middle East in terms
Yeah.
of that relentless pulse. But, there's a massive contradiction at the heart of all that speed.
Which is,
Well, the infrastructure of doing business there,
hmm.
it hasn't always matched the speed of the deals themselves.
Okay.
Historically, if you wanted to set up shop, a physical presence in Dubai, you hit a wall of rigidity. We're talking massive upfront checks, these really strict 5-year leases, and a level of bureaucracy that can slow a nimble startup to a complete crawl.
And that is the tension we're exploring today. It's exactly that clash between a hyperspeed economy and the heavy, slow anchor of traditional real estate. I mean, if you are a business trying to pivot in a market that changes weekly, how do you survive if your office lease is locked in until 2030?
You don't. Or at least you don't do it easily. That friction is really driving a fundamental shift in the corporate landscape of the whole region.
So today we are doing a deep dive into flexible office spaces. And before you tune out thinking, oh, they just mean co-working like beanbags and free cereal, let me stop you right there.
Yeah, this is a different conversation.
This isn't about hipster aesthetics. This is about a strategic operational shift in how companies, from tiny startups to massive multinationals, are solving this asset liability problem.
It's moving from renting a room to renting a service. That's the core distinction we're going to unpack.
And to guide us through this, we are looking at a stack of research and data, but we're viewing it largely through the lens of MoveAndStay.com. And this context really matters because Move and Stay isn't some new app that popped up last year.
Not at all. They've been in the game for over 25 years.
It's the late 90s, right?
That's right.
Correct. So they've been connecting business professionals with extended stay solutions. We're talking service departments, hotels, and very specifically serviced offices across the Asia Pacific and beyond for decades. They've watched the mobile professional evolve from, a guy with a briefcase to the digital nomad armies we see today.
So they have a quarter century of data on how people actually live and work abroad.
Mm.
And that expertise is so crucial because they understand the pain points. They just get it. They know that when you go to a place like Dubai, you need more than a hotel room.
You need an ecosystem.
You need a functioning ecosystem. Exactly.
So let's get into the sources. The headline here is Dubai offices are flexible for a reason. But let's start by defining our terms. When the data talks about flexible office space in a serious business context, what are we actually looking at?
Okay, so we need to strip away that mental image of the chaotic freelancer cafe. In this context, flexible means a plug-and-play professional environment.
Tug play.
Think of it like the difference between building a house from scratch and checking into a 5-star hotel suite.
So walk us through the building the house scenario. If I run a traditional office in, say, Business Bay today, what does that actually look like?
It looks like a shell, literally.
Yeah.
In many commercial towers in Dubai, you are renting concrete floors and 4 walls.
No lights.
No lights.
Yeah.
No raised flooring for your cables. No partitions, nothing. You have to handle the entire fit-out, which requires permits, contractors, and months of time. Then you have to set up your own DW, that's the Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, and sign your own internet contracts.
So you're just hemorrhaging cash for 3 months before you even send your first email?
Precisely.
Mm.
Now, with a flexible office solution, you are renting the finished product. You walk in, the desk is there, the ergonomic chair is there, the fiber optic internet is live, and the AC is already set to a perfect 22 degrees.
You're operational on day one.
You are operational the second you swipe your key card. And crucially, you're committed only for as long as you need to, be days, weeks, or months.
No 5-year handcuffs.
No handcuffs.
Yeah.
And that is the absolute game changer. It transforms real estate from a capital expenditure, a massive debt, into a simple operational expenditure.
There was one specific point in the research that I found really interesting, especially for the smaller players. It's this concept of borrowed prestige.
Oh, this is a massive psychological lever, especially in a place like Dubai. Image is currency there.
Right. Because if I'm a small consultancy or maybe a tech startup, my budget probably dictates I rent an office in some dusty industrial park on the outskirts of town.
Sure.
But the source material suggests that flexible spaces let you hack that hierarchy.
They absolutely do. These flexible workspace providers, the big global networks that someone like Movie and Stay partners with, They take out massive leases on prime real estate.
The best.
The best spots. We're talking the top floors of the most iconic towers on Sheikh Zayed Road,
Yeah.
or right in the heart of downtown Dubai or the DIFC.
Real estate that a small business could never, ever afford on their own.
Never. You couldn't even get a meeting with a leasing agent. But you can afford to rent a two-person office within that floor plan. So suddenly your business card says level 45 iconic tower, downtown Dubai.
And when a client Googles you, they see glass and steel, not a warehouse.
It lets you instantly borrow the credibility of the building. You look established, you look solvent, you look professional, even if you just incorporated the company last Tuesday. In a market where trust is everything, that address is a powerful signal.
It's a vanity metric that actually converts to business value. But let's look past the address. Let's talk about the operational reality inside that glass box. The sources emphasize that it isn't just about having a desk, it's about the amenities. But I want to push on this. Are we just talking about free coffee?
The coffee's usually there, and it's usually pretty good, but no, that's not what keeps the business running. The real value is in the infrastructure you don't see, or rather, the infrastructure you don't have to manage yourself.
Like the IT stack.
Yes. Connectivity in these spaces isn't just home Wi-Fi. We're talking enterprise-grade fiber optic connections with redundancy. If the primary line goes down, there's a backup.
And support.
There is on-site IT support. If you've ever tried to troubleshoot a server connection in a foreign country where you don't speak the language perfectly, you know that having an IT guy down the hall is worth its weight in gold.
It's risk mitigation. But the source material highlights another element that I think is even more valuable for that perception aspect we just talked about, the human element.
The reception services. This is huge.
Paint the picture for us.
Okay, imagine you have a potential investor flying in. In the traditional garage startup scenario, you're meeting them at a noisy Starbucks, or you're buzzing them into a messy hallway. In a flexible office, they walk into a marble lobby. A professional receptionist greets them, offers them water, and calls your office to let you know your guest has arrived.
And that receptionist, they answer calls in your company name.
Often, yes. Good morning, your company name. How may I direct your call? It projects the image of a major corporation. It tells the client, this company has structure, they have staff. They don't need to know that the staff is shared among 50 other businesses on the floor.
It's the fake it till you make it strategy, but it's built right into the rent.
I kind of prefer scale it while you make it. You're accessing the infrastructure of a Fortune 500 company on a startup budget.
Let's talk about the meeting rooms, because this brings up the pay-as-you-go concept, which I think is just financially brilliant.
This is all about efficiency. In a traditional office, the boardroom is the most expensive room per square foot. It has the big table, the view, the expensive teleconferencing gear. And how often is it actually used?
Maybe 10% of the week.
If that. The rest of the time is just gathering dust and costing you rent. It's dead money. In a flexible workspace, you have access to state-of-the-art boardrooms, but you only pay for the hour you use it.
So if you pitch once a month, you pay for 1 hour a month.
Exactly. You aren't subsidizing empty space.
This leads us perfectly into the economic argument, because I can hear the skeptics listening right now. They're thinking, okay, this sounds great, but convenience costs money. Surely the monthly rent on a service office is higher per square foot than a traditional lease.
If you look strictly at the price per square foot of the desk versus the concrete shell, yes, the number is higher. But that is completely the wrong math. You have to look at the total cost of ownership, the TCO.
Okay, break that down for us. What are we forgetting in the traditional math?
Everything else. In a traditional lease, you pay for the reception area, the hallways, the kitchen, the server room. In flexible space, you pay only for the office you actually occupy.
Right.
Then add the fit-out costs amortized over the lease. Add the utility bills, which fluctuate wildly in Dubai summers with AC costs. Add the cleaning contract. Add the security deposit. Add the cost of the office manager you have to hire just to run the place.
When you stack all of that up, the premium for flexible space starts to, well, it disappears.
Often, flexible space actually comes out cheaper. But the real economic win isn't just the line item savings. It's the predictability.
The bundling.
Right. One invoice. Rent, power, internet, cleaning, tea, coffee, security. It's all one number at the end of the month. For a CFO or a business owner, knowing exactly what your burn rate is without worrying about a sudden spike in electricity costs is incredibly valuable.
And it frees up capital.
Massive amounts of capital. The $50,000 you didn't spend on desks and glass partitions, that goes into product development.
Oh, marketing.
That goes into marketing. That goes into hiring a better sales director. That is how you grow a business, not by hoarding furniture.
I love the analogy the source material uses here, the accordion.
The scalability factor. This is the ultimate survival strategy in a volatile market.
Explain how that works in practice.
Let's say you land a massive government contract tomorrow. You need to hire 6 people immediately. In a traditional office, you are physically stuck. You're crammed in like sardines, or you have to break your lease and move, which takes months.
A nightmare.
In a flexible space, you walk to the front desk and say, I need the 4-person suite next door starting Monday. Done.
And the flip side.
The flip side is even more important, though nobody likes to plan for it. If that contract ends or the market turns, you can downsize just as fast. You've noticed you drop the extra suite and your overhead drops instantly.
You aren't paying for ghosts for the next 3 years.
Exactly.
That agility feels so essential for Dubai. It's a boomtown, things move fast. So let's look at the user profiles. Who is actually doing this? We've touched on the startup. That's the obvious one. Cash is king. Agility is life. But who else?
The freelancer is a big one, but for a specific reason. Mental health and professional separation.
The get out of the house factor.
Exactly. Working from home has so many distractions. It can be isolating. Flexible spaces offer a destination. You go to work. It shifts your mindset. Plus, meeting a client in a real office beats shouting over a grinder in a coffee shop any day of the week.
But here's the one that surprised me in the research. The big corporations. The established players. Why would a giant multinational with billions in revenue mess around with a month-to-month office? Don't they want to plant a flag?
They do, but they are getting much smarter about risk. This is the satellite office or the test market strategy. Let's say you are a tech giant based in Silicon Valley or London. You want to see if the Middle East is a viable market for your new software.
You don't build a $20 million regional HQ to find out, right?
Not anymore. That's the old way. Now you send a landing team, 5 key people. You put them in a high-end serviced office, maybe one move-in stay recommends, for 12 months.
That's a probe.
It's a low-risk probe. If the market bites, great. You expand the office or eventually build your own. If it doesn't work, you pull the team out, cancel the contract, and your exit cost is basically zero. No real estate to sell, no subletting nightmare.
It's fail fast applied to real estate. That is incredibly smart. And then we have the hybrid team, which I feel is the new default for so many companies.
The touchdown point. This is for companies that have gone fully remote but realize they still need human contact. They'll rent a smaller, flexible space just to have a hub for collaboration on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
So they don't need a desk for every employee?
No, just a clubhouse for the culture.
Okay, so we've established the why. It makes financial sense. It makes strategic sense. Now I want to pivot to the how, because this is kind of the buyer beware section of our deep dive.
Right, because not all flexible spaces are created equal. Not by a long shot.
If I'm listening to this and I want to find a space in Dubai, how do I avoid getting ripped off? What are the red flags the sources warn us about?
The biggest trap is looking only at the base rate.
The sticker price.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see an ad, office space for $500 a month. You think, amazing. But you need to ask for the all-in price. Does that include the internet? You'd be shocked how many places charge extra for a secure connection. Does it include printing? Does it include meeting room hours?
So that $500 could turn into $1,000 very quickly if every cup of coffee and every printed page is an add-on.
It absolutely can. You want transparency. You want a provider who says, this is the price, and it covers everything.
What about the contract terms? We keep saying flexible, but is that always true?
That's the second trap, the notice period. Some providers market themselves as flexible, but if you read the fine print, there is a strict 3-month or even 6-month notice period to vacate. That isn't truly flexible if you need to pivot next month.
Right.
You want to look for genuine month-to-month options or very short notice periods.
Now, there is one specific, very Dubai-centric nuance that came up in the Move and Stay research, and I think this is probably the most critical piece of actionable advice we have today. It's all about the paperwork.
Yes. The Ijari and the trade license. This is where the rubber really meets the road.
Okay, break this down for the listener who hasn't done business in the UAE before. Why does this matter so much?
Okay, so in Dubai, to legally operate a business, you need a trade license. To get that trade license, the government usually requires proof of a physical address. That proof is a document called Ijari, which is the official registration of your tenancy contract.
So it's a catch-22. You need the office to get the license, but you usually need the license to sign a traditional lease.
It can be a bureaucratic nightmare. And here is the kicker. The banks need the Ijari too. You can't open a corporate bank account without it.
So if you pick the wrong flexible office provider, one that isn't officially registered or recognized, you might have a desk, but you won't actually have a business.
Exactly. You might have a nice view, but you won't be able to invoice anyone. This is why you need top-tier providers. The networks that MoveOn Stay deals with, for example, they often provide business setup support.
So they don't just rent you space.
No, they provide the actual Ijari documents you need to satisfy the government and the banks.
That is a pro tip. So if you are interviewing office providers, your first question shouldn't be, how fast is the Wi-Fi? It should be, can you help me with my Ijari and licensing?
And if they hesitate on that answer, run. Because without that paperwork, you are dead in the water.
And finally, just the vibe check.
The environment check. You have to physically go there, sit in the chair. Is it dead silent like a library? That might drive you crazy. Is it chaotic like a playground? That might kill your focus. You have to check the soundproofing and check the access hours.
Right, because business in Dubai definitely does not stop at 5 p.m.
No. If you are working with clients in New York or London, you might be in the office at 10 p.m. Can you get in? Is the AC still running? These are the practical details that determine your quality of life.
It's funny, as we talk through all these logistics, I keep zooming out to the bigger picture. The whole definition of an office has completely shifted. It used to be a destination. It was a place you went to.
And now?
Now it feels more like a utility, like electricity or cloud storage. It's a service you consume based on your current load.
That is the perfect synthesis. This isn't just a reaction to the pandemic. It's a reaction to the modern economy. The market is fluid, so your infrastructure has to be fluid. The office has evolved from a fixed liability, that anchor we talked about at the start, to a fluid asset that moves as you move.
And that really brings it back to the whole philosophy of a company like MoveAndStay.com. When you think about it, they've been treating place as a service for 25 years. Whether it's a service department for a 3-month project or a serviced office for a 2-year expansion, they bridge that gap between the short trip and the permanent relocation.
They do. They take the friction out of mobility. And in a place like Dubai, where you might arrive to test the waters and end up staying for a decade, having a partner that can navigate that entire transition, finding you a home and an office without the headache, that's essential.
It allows you to focus on the work, not the logistics.
And that raises a really provocative question for everyone listening today.
What's that?
We spend so much time worrying about stability. We want to own things. We want the long lease. But if we accept that the office is no longer a fixed liability, if you could scale your physical footprint up or down literally overnight, how much faster could you actually grow?
That's the question. If you weren't hoarding cash to pay rent on an empty building for a rainy day, what innovation would you fund tomorrow?
It changes the whole risk calculation, doesn't it?
It certainly does. The freedom of not being tied down might be the biggest asset of all. Well, on that note, we hope this deep dive has helped you rethink your workspace strategy. Whether you're a freelancer dodging coffee shop noise or a CEO staring at a 50-page lease, maybe it's time to get flexible.
Stay agile.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.